believe it's time to bring the best man forward to say a few words.
My dad can be such a little girl sometimes. Of all the introductions I've ever received, that was certainly the most recent. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Gordon, and I'll be your best man for the evening. Despite what you all might be thinking, I'm not going to roast my poor older brother tonight. I've always believed that if you can't say something good about someone, it's probably because you're talking about Brian Griffin. According to modern tradition, my role tonight is to sing the groom's praises and talk about all his good qualities. Unfortunately, I can't sing, and I won't lie. I will, however, proceed trying to give Brian the 5 most uncomfortable minutes of his life. Just for the record, the 5 most uncomfortable minutes of Katie's life will be occurring later this evening. Don't worry, that's the worst of it. I'd like to personally take this opportunity to thank Brian for asking me to be his best man today. It really is an honor to be asked, and for him to formally acknowledge after all these years that I really am the best man. Brian's a man who embodies many positive attributes: ambition and tact, patience and generosity, sophistication and goodwill are unfortunately ones that elude Brian. He was born on May 27th, 1983. I tried to link this to some major world event that happened that day. But it seems nothing major happened on that day. However, the Franklin Square Hospital staff still refer to that day as Ugly Friday. Poor mom didn't get morning sickness until after the birth. But Brian really is a special person. I think that's how the school psychiatrist put it. All these years, he's had this ability to bring an atmosphere of happiness, joy, laughter, and peace in my life just by going away. I really have always looked up to Brian. That is until he turned 12 and stopped growing. I can honestly say that in all the years I've known Brian, no one's ever questioned his kindness. In fact, I've never heard anyone even mention it. But I'd like to take a moment to talk about the love of Brian's life. Donald Trump. Unfortunately, Mr. Trump couldn't be here tonight, but he wanted me to tell you, please stop calling him. The other love, of course, is Katie. A smart, kind, generous girl, beautiful inside and out. She deserves a good husband, so thank God he married her before she found one. I was talking to her earlier about how marriage is going to change things for her. The cooking, the cleaning, the washing and ironing. And no need to thank me now, Brian, but for the first couple of months, she said she's willing to help you out. That's most of the funny stuff out of the way. I now have mushy stuff to get through, so. Anybody that knows Brian knows that he's always kept things like character, integrity, responsibility, and the tradition of family at the top of his list. In the realm of finding that special someone, it's been on his mind since years before he ever met Katie, and then he found her in Katie. I was actually witness to the budding of their romance as it all started when the three of us acted together in the school play at Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court. Seeing the two interact made two things very clear. Brian's a horrible flirt, but still a serious romantic. And somehow the combination worked, and I'm sure he'll be a great husband for Katie. And Katie's already seemed a part of the family for the past few years. They've formed lasting bonds and memories both outside our home and in, and we all anticipate many, many more to come. Growing up with an older brother like Brian isn't always easy. His shadow was and still is a tall one. His grades were always exemplary. His service to this country has been evident in numerous ways, and he's continued to boldly serve God since a young age. He's a brother I'm more than proud to have, who's greatly added to the pride I take in my last name. He's always treated those around him with respect, and I've never heard anyone say that he's wronged them in any way, except maybe Jenny. He always had a special relationship with my grandfather, who's no longer with us, and I know that if he were here, he'd have the biggest smile of any of you out there, and I know both he and Grandmom are smiling from above. I'd like to close by saying there's many things I admire about Brian. His loyalty, his determination, his values. But there's one other thing I admire about him. It's not his taste in music. It's not his fashion sense. It's not his possession of twice as much body hair as myself. But I admire his appreciation for the finer things in life and the important things in life. And today, Brian, you've certainly lived up to that trait. You found a woman of great quality and character in Katie. A brother's love means if you ever need anything, I'll be there. True love says you'll never need anything, I'll be here. Katie, thank you for making my brother so happy. I know you'll both have your good days and you'll have your bad days, but through it all you'll have each other. So I'd like to propose a toast to the newlyweds. If you'll please be upstanding, let's stand up. Please. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great pleasure to invite you to raise your glasses and toast to Mr. and Mrs. Brian Griffin. May you have many full years together.
And yes, give them a nice round of applause, everybody. It was a nice toast. It is time for